The world is full of people who know exactly what they should be doing in their business, and yet they're still struggling. It's interesting, right? Because what if I told you that gap between where you are now and where you want to be isn't about information or knowledge at all? So today we're going to dive into why that collection of courses and books or webinars that you keep seeking out might actually be holding you back rather than moving you forward. That's coming up. Ready to break free from the solopreneur struggle? This is the Ease and Impact Thriving as a Solopreneur podcast. I'm Frankie J, a surfer, a mum, and an 8-year solopreneur myself. Join me as I peel back the layers to a thriving online business without the guru hype or the burnout. I'm going to show you the proven strategies and tools that I use so you can build a sustainable digital business without sacrificing your well-being. Let's get you thriving as a solopreneur. Welcome to Ease and Impact, where we talk about thriving as a solopreneur, not just surviving. I'm your host, Frankie J, and I'm thrilled to be here for another episode of practical wisdom to help you on your solo business journey. Now, before we dive in, if you have been finding value in these conversations or you're new to my channel, please just take a quick second to hit subscribe wherever you're listening. It ensures that you'll obviously never miss an episode. But honestly, it makes a huge difference for the show. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. So today I'm talking about something that I see all too often in the digital entrepreneur world, and that is the knowledge to action gap. And I want to share a little personal story that really illustrates this. So my son recently insisted that he didn't need to wear socks with his shoes. Now, I explained all the logical reasons as to why socks matter. I gave him all the knowledge that he needed. Did he listen? Of course not, because he's 5 years old. He had to experience the discomfort for himself, the rubbing, the sweaty feet, the struggling to get his shoes on and off. And only then did he come to me ready to put on socks, bring me his socks, having learned that lesson. And after wearing them, he told me that he liked the socks better. The socks were working, right? And now he wears socks with his running shoes always. He went from knowledge to knowing. He got the knowledge of what he should be doing, but it wasn't until he implemented that knowledge that he realized that it worked, or it worked for him, right? And isn't that just the perfect metaphor for what happens in our business, right? You see, as digital entrepreneurs and coaches, we've been trained to believe that more knowledge, more information will solve our problem. That if we just find, the right strategy, gather more information about marketing funnels, everything will just fall into place somehow, magically. We don't actually do what it's telling us to do necessarily, but that we'll have that information and things will just start to work. But here's what people don't often tell you. Your business isn't struggling because you don't know enough. In fact, I'd bet that right now, you know at least 3 things that you should be implementing in your business that would move you forward, that are just things you've collected from other podcasts, mini courses, or coaches that are actually just sitting on some shelf in your brain gathering dust. Am I right? Take a moment and think about what things they might be for you. The truth is that knowledge without implementation, it's just noise. It's mental clutter that can actually lead to more overwhelm rather than clarity. And when you think about it, it's fascinating how we keep searching out for new information when we haven't even applied what we already know. It's as if we believe that somewhere out there is a perfect piece of advice that's going to magically transform our business without us having to do the uncomfortable work of implementing. Now, I want you to consider something. What if instead of consuming more content this week, you committed to implementing just one thing that you already know will help you in your business? Because here's what happens when you start taking action, even imperfect action. You create momentum. You gather real-world data. You learn what actually works for your business in your specific circumstances. You go from knowledge to knowing. And I believe no guru, no matter how successful, can tell you exactly what will work for your unique situation. They can provide frameworks and principles, but the magic happens when you adapt that and implement. Think about it this way. Would you rather have someone who has the knowledge of everything to build a successful business, but has never actually done it, or someone who has built one or several, even if they can't articulate every single step of the process. The doing is where the real learning happens. It's when you take that knowledge and you turn it into knowing. Now, I'm not suggesting that you throw away all your resources and just stop learning altogether. Learning is incredibly valuable, but only when it's in service of action. So here's what I propose. For every hour you spend consuming content, maybe it's this podcast, another show, a book, a mini course, commit to spending another hour implementing what you've learned. Now, this simple action, this shift alone, could really revolutionize the growth in your business. And remember, implementation doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it really is at first. But taking imperfect action is a hell of a lot more valuable than perfect inaction. In your business, that first email you send might not have a perfect subject line. Your first sales call might be awkward as hell. Your first launch might not meet the revenue goals you expected. But each of these actions gives you real data, real experience, real growth that no amount of passive learning ever could. So I want to challenge you. What's one thing that you already know you should be doing in your business, but you haven't started yet? Think about it. You've got it in mind, good. Because now, when will you implement it? Not someday, not when you're ready. Give yourself a specific deadline. Success isn't about having more knowledge than others. It's about implementing that knowledge more than others. The beautiful thing is, once you build this implementation muscle, your business starts to transform. You start seeing results faster. Your confidence grows. Your overwhelm diminishes. And suddenly you realize that you've become the type of person that gets things done rather than the person that just talks about getting things done. And isn't that why you started this solopreneur journey in the first place? Not to collect information, but to create impact from action. Well, I hope today's episode has inspired you to close some of those browser tabs, to put down some of those books, and to start taking action on what you already know. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, knowledge is only power when you put it to use. So keep creating that impact with ease, and I'll see you next week.